this was a good trade, and I'm going to tell you why.
It's LeGarrette Blount here, man, 3-time Super Bowl champion. I just want to give you a shout out to the YouTube channel, Micro Mike, man.
Eddie Murray, former Detroit Lion. Make sure you watch Micro Mike on YouTube.
Calvin Johnson Jr. here, aka Megatron. Big shout out to Micro Mike and YouTube channel, man.
Keep on talking everything Detroit Lions, and I just got to remind you, man, happy wife, happy life.
What is going on, YouTube, and welcome to Detroit Lions Talk with Micro Mike. We talk all things Detroit Lions news, rumors, analysis, breakdown, and everything regarding our franchise. In this video, I'm going to give you many reasons why the trade for Matthew Stafford, draft picks, and Jared Goff was a very good trade for the Detroit Lions, and why I think this is the building blocks to a very good future regarding our franchise. But before we get to this video, if you're not a subscriber, hit that big red subscribe button, dropping content every single day, and you want to hit that like button. The more likes you get, the more chance that the video gets out via YouTube algorithm. As everyone knows, the Detroit Lions made a trade for Matthew Stafford going to the Los Angeles Rams, and in return, they get a 2021 third-round draft pick, a 2022 first, and a 2023 first-round draft picks, and acquired Jared Goff as the quarterback of the Detroit Lions. A lot of responses that I'm seeing online is how awful this trade is, and I want to do a little bit of a rebuttal and kind of give you an idea why I think this is a fantastic trade for the Detroit Lions. First off, when it comes to Matthew Stafford, he broke his back 2 years in a row, and he's 33 years old. The idea that they can get the compensation that they did in 2 first-round draft picks alone is amazing in itself. And they went and got a third-round draft pick and a player in return. So, all in all, for a 33-year-old quarterback, the Detroit Lions gave away 1 player and received 4 in return. To me, that is definitely a good return on your investment. Given the circumstances that the Detroit Lions drafted Matthew Stafford in 2009 and turned around and got massive value for him 12 years later, speaks volumes to the quality talent that Brad Holmes did regarding acquiring draft picks and capital for Matthew Stafford. Comment, I'm curious to see, what do you guys believe the grade was for this draft? A, B, C, or D? All you got to do is place it in the pinned comment. I'm curious to see what the fan base thinks and what grade they give Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell for this trade. I hear suggestions that Jared Goff should have never been part of the trade deal. Let's look in comparisons to what could have possibly been. First off, if you trade Matthew Stafford, you're going to have to get a quarterback for his replacement. There's many options they could have went if they did not want to go Jared Goff. Tyrod Taylor, Jameis Winston, Chase Daniel, other options like Fitzpatrick. May I ask you something? It's going to cost money to simply get these quarterbacks, and to me, they're not as good as a young Jared Goff. Jared Goff is 26 years old. To me, would be a good individual to help train and help the Detroit Lions out if they decided to get a young quarterback in this draft. After 2 years, his contract is basically nothing, and they could simply release him with no damages. When it comes to his numbers, a lot of people assume that he was absolutely atrocious. But if you look throughout his years, given the completion percentage, it has went up 54 to 62, 64, 62 to 67. If you look at his yards, 1,000 for his first year, his rookie year, but it goes 38, 46, 46, and 39. In comparison, Matthew Stafford was nearly the exact same type of numbers. His touchdowns went up 28, 32, 22, and 20, down from his last year from 2019, but he also dealt with a severe injury to his thumb, having surgery. And given the circumstances that his touchdown to interception ratio is nearly the same as Matthew Stafford, if you look at it, Matthew Stafford 33, Jared Goff 26, with no injury history, you're getting a quarterback 7 years younger, drafted in the first round, the same spot, nearly the same type of stats, younger, but no injury history. And you receive 3 draft picks with it. So if Jared Goff does not work out, it's no big deal for the Detroit Lions because they have the ability to acquire a young quarterback if they want to. With these draft picks, they can go up and down in the draft, and you build through the draft. That's the important part. Did anyone really expect the Detroit Lions to compete for the NFC North in 2020? I sure did not. I believe the Detroit Lions were a couple years away from competing, given the circumstance that Quinn Trisha left this defense in a world of hurt with a lack of talent. We only had 5 draft picks, so it was a couple years build. So if Jared Goff doesn't work out, does it really matter? Because you could just move away from him. You have the draft capital for 2022 to have 2 first-round draft picks. In 2023, another 2 first-round draft picks. That is an amazing job. If you look what other teams have done, such as the Miami Dolphins and Jacksonville Jaguars, a lot of people made fun of them for getting rid of players, and that worked out fairly well for them. It's important to get your voice heard out there. Maybe you don't agree, but that's okay, because we are One Pride and we're going against the legacy media. So hit that like button. Let's get that video out there. I am just one guy, and they are a juggernaut. Let me also talk to you about the 7th pick in the draft. The conundrum that the Detroit Lions were in was this. If the Detroit Lions kept Matthew Stafford before the bonus that he was offered, the Lions would have to pay him much more money. But if they traded him before that and did not get a quarterback, every team in the NFL knew that the Detroit Lions were taking a quarterback with that 7th pick. They could easily jump Detroit Lions, get ahead of them, and take a quarterback. Say if 3 fell and there's 1 left like a Trey Lance, the Panthers decide to jump the Detroit Lions, we would have no option at quarterback. Now that you have a quarterback in Jared Goff, they have options. The Lions have options. Teams are not going to assume they're going to take a quarterback at 7, so if they really want to, maybe no team jumps. And that's a good thing. Maybe a Justin Fields, Trey Lance, or Zach Wilson falls. And then they can take him. No team's going to assume it. Or a Penei Sewell falls. Well, if a Penei Sewell falls, guess what? You have a quarterback, and if you feel you want to build a insane offensive line, throw him on the right side. A player you covet extremely there, Micah Parsons, or whoever you covet, you're not cash-strapped or strapped to getting a quarterback. You can differ. What if a team like the Washington football team, Indianapolis Colts, or another team wants to move up and get a quarterback? Lions are sitting at 7. There's 1 quarterback left. Washington, Indianapolis, Patriots, they're vying to get a quarterback. Well, guess what? You can trade back and get even more capital and still get the player you covet. This is the options that Brad Holmes have done for the Detroit Lions, and it's amazing work in my opinion. I absolutely love it. The Lions have options, and we are not stuck on 1 player. To me, this is a real plan. Why do I say this is a real plan? Because you need to build a team through the draft. And getting the capital that they did, I am perfectly fine with it. We're cash-strapped this year so far with Jared Goff. Does it really matter in the big picture? Did anyone assume we're going to compete for the NFC North this year? No. We would be mediocrity at best. And given that, we need to build for the future. And so what did Brad Holmes do? Acquire first-round draft pick in 22 and 23. Goff don't work out, guess what? You get a quarterback. But we have more options than just that. We can also acquire defensive talent. So if they decided to get away from Goff next year or the year after, you can then bring in a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback, just like the Kansas City Chiefs did with Patrick Mahomes. They had Alex Smith, they groomed him, brought Patrick Mahomes in the next year. The team was built solid around him, so when he came in, it was not in a lot of pain. That's how you build a franchise. You need to do it for the draft. This was a great trade. A great trade. I don't think anybody with a real concept was saying that the Detroit Lions would get 2 first-round draft picks for Matthew Stafford. Adding the fact that we also got a 3rd-round draft pick, considering that the 3rd round is also a good draft pick as well because you can acquire talent in these rounds. What do we talk about these picks? Now, if they want to utilize these draft picks, say in the 2022, you can move up, you can move down. Same with 23, and that's fantastic. Everyone assumes that the Los Angeles Rams are going to be a juggernaut of a football team. I wouldn't assume that. They're in the NFC West. Russell Wilson is there. They're not a bad football team. Arizona Cardinals are building, and San Francisco 49ers are a good quality team as well. There's a chance they may not even make the playoffs or win their division. And if that's the case, well, look, we even get higher draft picks. I'm not ready to crown any team right now to say that they are the Super Bowl contender because, as we know, just because you acquire talent, it doesn't make you necessarily a Super Bowl contender. And that's facts. What if Stafford gets injured? Rams are in a world of hurt. Detroit Lions are sitting pretty with that draft capital. Many different factors have to take place. But in my opinion, when you can acquire the draft capital that they did, and you can even get a player to help bridge or hold the fort down for a young quarterback, that's an A+ for me. A fantastic job by Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell to come with this plan, a bold plan like they suggested they would do. In the upcoming videos, we got the One Pride podcast on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be a lovely show. Make sure you are there. We do the live mailbag segment where you guys ask us questions and we will answer them the best that we can. You don't want to miss out, so you want to hit that notification bell. Also, on Tuesday, we got Spiked Kool-Aid on the Gridiron Blitz. I'll be on there. The rest of ISN is going to be on there. It's a fun show, a little more heated, a little more raw, and that's kind of what we like here in Detroit.